Hey everybody, it's Daryl Girardier, and today we're going to do a book review on possibly one of my favorite books I've ever read, a book that I recommend to every young creative, and it is the book The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Now, not The Art of War, The War of Art. Okay, make sure you get that correct. The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Steven Pressfield is a fiction author who's written books like The Legend of Bagger Vance, a whole bunch of historical fiction books. So he's a accomplished author. And the book, The War of Art, really is about the creative craft. So if you thought, what's the main thesis about the book? It's about the creative craft. More specifically, it's about how the work actually gets done. And so what Steven does in this book, and why I love this book so much, is what he calls the reader out to say, you have to determine if you're one of the two things. If you're going to be an amateur, if you're going to be a professional. Are you going to be a weekend warrior? Or are you going to be somebody who shows up 7 days a week? And he really gets into like, what is a professional? Like, what is it to mean to do what you do, but do it professionally? And that is things like showing up every day, being there 7 days a week, showing up on time. And not just showing up to your job on time, showing up for work on time, not waiting for inspiration to strike, but understand you have to get to work, and then inspiration will eventually show up. He talks you through, one of the things I love in the book, he talks you through like his daily routine, which is like he gets in, throws on a sweatshirt, sits down in front of his typewriter or word processor at the time when he wrote the book, and basically starts hammering away at 9 a.m. on the dot, starts typing. The reality of it is he says he's not waiting for inspiration. He's not going to a special coffee shop or getting a special moleskin notebook to write in. He is going. He's jumping in and going to work, and he knows that eventually at some point inspiration will show up and the work will start to be cranked out. And it's that idea, that habit that he continues to build, that he shows you that's what he does, that makes him such a great writer. And it's the truth behind really great creative work or art, design, whatever it is that these are people who show up every single day. They're professionals. They're not amateurs who just dabble in this. They show up and they do the work. Regardless of circumstances, they show up every day and they do the work and they push hard. They push past something that Steven Pressfield calls the resistance. The resistance, if you will, is this thing that says you can put this off. It's the thing that may stop you from doing that great creative work that you've got inside of you. The resistance is the thing that's trying to stop you. And Pressfield says you have to show up and do the work and push past the resistance. That once you push past it and you start building that habit, it becomes more natural. And every single day you'll start cranking out really great work. This book is, to me, the tone of the book and the feel of the book, it's like if you had Gary Vaynerchuk without the F word, but a lot earlier. It's almost like the original Gary Vaynerchuk in the sense of like the whole idea of hustle that you hear so much in culture espoused. This was like hustle before hustle. This book, again, I give it to everybody every creative, young creative, in the fact that I want you to read it. It's a short book, but it's such a powerful read because he really gets into the idea of blowing up this idea as a myth of creativity being this mythological thing that just kind of shows up and happens to you, but rather something you show up every day and you do the work and you go to war for your art, and you go in and you crank it out every single day. And I can't say enough about the book. If I was going to put it on a scale, if you're going to give it like a rating, 5 stars, A+, that's where it falls in the category for me. It's by far one of my favorite books of all time. It's a book that honestly I think every once in a while, honestly, it should be read. Probably I would say once every 2 years, open it up, read it. And it reminds you of things like, hey, don't worry about the critics, don't worry about others. Put your head down and go to work and crank out that work. And I would tell you, for me, and the impact on me, it's kind of one of the drivers for me every day when I wake up. I go, I got to go to work, I got to do it, I got to stay after it, and I know that long term it's going to pay off. And if you can instill that as a young creative at an early standpoint in your life, you will go on to do some pretty amazing things. So that's why I love this book. To me, it's a huge encouragement in that. So I encourage you to check it out. It's The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. There'll be a link down below. And maybe buy some copies for your teammates and maybe have a book read. I don't know. You might enjoy that. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. The button should be up here or over here. Or if you're on Facebook, if you could share or like this video, that would be great as well. Thanks for watching.